Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Friday, the 16th of September, comes to you from London. And it's the end to the busy week, and we're seeing a lot of red on the screen. I'm wearing a red shirt, and so we are just seeing markets having really deteriorated. And what's interesting is just seeing that red on the screen, and when I go to look at my alerts, quite a lot of these long-term targets are new. We're seeing new downside targets being given just on the alerts, and that's really quite key. And remembering, and then also the very short-term targets. So here we're seeing one this morning on TTF. The very short-term targets kicking in on the 1 minute charts, because the very short term is on the 1 minute. The short-term targets on the 60-minute chart. So here we're seeing one on US Nat Gas, for example, a new 90-bar low on silver. All these alerts coming in. So that's really quite interesting just to watch these alerts and how they marry up with what I'm seeing on the screen. So the alerts, remember, that's part of the enterprise product. You can set your just short term, your very short term, your short term, your medium term, and your long term alerts. I tend to have longer lists for my long term because I don't want alerts all the time. I just want to know when the big changes happen there. And on the very short term, these are the things that I'm watching here. I'm just watching gas and power, watching these very short term. So all you have to do is drag into these watch lists the instruments you want from whatever feed you want. So from Bloomberg, Icon, Trayport, over 30 different feeds. You just pull in the instruments you want. Can come from multiple data sources, of course, as well. And then you will get the alerts. The alerts are already pre-set up in your system. So all you have to do is just specify the things that you want to be alerted on, and you will start to get these alerts. So really quite interesting there, just seeing how those alerts are marrying up with the colors that I'm seeing on the screen. So we're getting, not only are we seeing downside, we're actually seeing new technical analysis events unfolding as these prices fall. So really quite significant. The dollar is looking strong. No surprises there. We've been big fans of the dollar. We said at the beginning of the year that 2022 would be the year of the dollar. We've got big upside targets. A new one just activated on that 1% chart. Remembering this is my weekly, my daily, and my 60-minute chart, my long-term, medium-term, and short-term view of the market. So and the corresponding point and figure targets. And we're seeing short-term targets, medium-term target, and multiple long-term targets. That's a cluster. When you're seeing multiple targets, that's really significant. Euro is back below the parity level. No big surprises there. Testing new lows all the time. Big downside targets, and we've been talking about that again for a very long time. The Japanese yen was hitting 24-year lows against the dollar. Of course, on this chart, that's dollar against the yen. New upside target activated. Very scary percentages there, and just too hard to believe. But, you know, at the start of the year, we were giving big targets for the dollar. We've already seen 15% increase on the dollar index. You know, the biggest asset class in the world, if you like, and we're seeing that move of 15%. All you had to do was put your money in dollars this year, and you're already 15% ahead. So really, really interesting to see that. Sterling falling to new lows there against the dollar. That 115 level breached. No big surprises here. We've got targets to parity on sterling, and of course that seemed hard to believe when we're sitting at the 130s and 140s level just a year ago, but that's where we're going. So you can't ignore the targets, and you can watch these targets on your any of the systems that you run, whether you're running Bloomberg or Icon into Updata. You can just watch these targets as they unfold. Looking at the euro, sterling is weaker here as well. So we are just seeing sterling falling away. So that's really quite key there. So watching that as well. Bitcoin back below $20,000. Game over for crypto. We've been saying that for a while now. Ever since we fell through this cloud, it's over, and we're seeing downside targets. So for the moment, until we get back above this weekly cloud, we've got to get back into sort of 40,000s really to be bullish again. So it's just looking terrible for crypto, and that's going to be very hard. Of course, when the rising trend, even Turkey's flying a strong wind. In a rising trend, it was great, but now it's going to be really hard to trade crypto. It's going to be all over the place. The S&P 500 index was down a further 1%. Remembering we'd already had a 4% fall this week. Bond market's looking terrible, long term, and we've been talking about that for a long time. But we are seeing here that fall through the weekly cloud on the verge of happening. The futures are down a further 1% today, so it's blood on the screens, I'm afraid, as we head into the weekend. Not looking good for markets. We're going to open even lower, so that is really quite key. And the VIX volatility is now in the high 20s. We see that on the chart. We've got targets higher into the 30s. Above 30 on the fear index, and we are in fearful territory. The FTSE future is actually holding up relatively well, up about 1/3%, but the DAX in Germany badly hit, down 2% on the future and on the cash. And of course, we are below that weekly cloud. We've got downside targets. Germany's woes are well known, but this has been in the charts for some time, and the downside targets there, some 18% lower on the German stock market, really not looking great. That DAX is down. All of Asia was pretty much down. China down 2.3%. So we're seeing here markets just generally heading into free fall. The one standout has been India. That's been looking a little bit better on the Sensex, still bullish above the cloud, but it's been hit overnight as well. No big surprises there. And the Aussie market down 1.5% too. A quick look at Brent crude. We will look at the energy mix in more detail in a minute, but a quick look at Brent crude. We're seeing on the weekly chart we are still holding that bullish trend, but we are starting to see signs of heading below the cloud, and we've got downside targets here. Demand destruction is the key, and we're seeing that now showing up in the chart. So the upside target is still there, but that is almost certainly now becoming less of an issue with these new downside targets. We've got a little bit upside target here. We will be watching for whether that can actually get activated or not, but crude is now really stuck below that $100 mark. We are in the medium term bearish and the short-term bearish as well. We'll come back to look at the energy mix, but looking at some of the soft commodities, we've got coffee up very slightly, sugar down slightly, but still holding the long-term trend there with the targets to the upside. Wheat is pulling back, but again holding that long-term trend, and we can see the recovery there off the low in August. Corn also bounced on the chart, and we are just seeing again that recovery there. So long-term, these commodity markets looking pretty key. Gold, this is really significant. Gold is breaking to new multi-year lows. So the gold bulls, this is pretty scary. We are just seeing that break below. We've got a downside target. Gold still might be good on the very long term. We've got upside targets there, but we are just seeing here signs that the gold price is going to fall further, and we are bearish now on all three time frames. Again, it's very easy to be a big gold bull in the climate that we're seeing, but you just cannot ignore the chart. So for the moment, gold is not looking good. Looking at copper, we're seeing here that's at 3.5%, so really significant there. And if we look at US 10-year yields, they've hit that 3.5%, so really pushing higher. We're going to get a new upside target on that column. When that locks, we need a pullback for that to lock, and then a move higher to activate it. Looking at the 30-year yield, we're at 4.5%, so that's really significant. And again, that's a 4.5% target, and a new upside target will be generated on that column as well. Now, quickly looking at the energy mix, of course, we put out our report to clients first thing this morning. We were neutral on crude oil at the time we were up, but we're just pulling back now. Not looking good on those short-term charts. Remembering this is the 1-minute chart. These are my targets kicking in as I speak, and we see on the 1-minute chart there that we've got these mixture of targets. Keep an eye on that. If you're trading crude oil, these are the targets you need to watch. US nat gas now off 3%, not looking as good as it was this morning. These new targets kicking in. We're now looking to downside there as well. Coal sitting steady above that $300 mark, so still looking very bullish there on coal. This is the daily and the 60-minute chart. This is my medium term, short term, and very short term. Quick look at gas before we see the end of the market. We've got TTF. We called that down today. We're lower on TTF. Looking at all those new targets kicking in. You cannot trade gas without watching these targets. This is the chart's just telling me where the price is going to go. MBP off 12%. Again, that target there to play for. And German power sitting fairly static, did regain the $500 mark, euro mark, but that's it. That's it for this week. I won't be on Monday. It's Queen Elizabeth's state funeral. It'll be a holiday in the UK. Happy charting. Have a good weekend. Bye for now.